Let's talk about leveraging ChatGPT and AI tools for damage restoration marketing in this episode. Let's get into it.
This isn't just any podcast. This is your secret weapon for dominating the market.
This is the Restoration Marketing Secrets Podcast, and this is your host, Sean McMeen.
Welcome to episode 17 of Restoration Marketing Secrets. I'm your host, Sean McMeen, and today we're going to talk about leveraging ChatGPT and AI tools for damage restoration marketing. Now, I've kind of held back on doing an episode or promoting much about ChatGPT and these AI tools because it's ever changing. It's evolving quite a bit over the last year. And if you've ever heard of ChatGPT, basically ChatGPT is an interactive chat that uses what's called OpenAI technology to have a conversational with a bot or an AI. And what OpenAI does is it goes out. It's the engine behind ChatGPT. It has tons of information that is indexed and researched. And what ChatGPT makes it feel more personable, something visual that somebody can type into the browser and say, hey, what's a Cat 3 water damage? And it uses OpenAI to query what that would be, and it's in a conversational way, and it sounds very human, like you're actually talking to a human, like you would. But it has its drawbacks. It has its pluses and minuses. It is scary how real it can seem when you're communicating with it, because it can feel like another person's actually communicating with you. These tools are still being, they're not perfect, but they are a tool or something that you can use to speed up gaining knowledge on things, getting clarification on things, and guide you in certain directions. I've heard stories of people using these to take exams in a school. I've heard, wild stories about these resources. But I'm going to share with you on this episode what good uses of ChatGPT could be for the damage restoration industry, and we actually use it as well within our agency to an extent. Just to preface here that you could theoretically go out to ChatGPT and say, hey, write me a blog about water damage restoration, and it will put together that blog for you. Here's a word of caution before we get into this, is that this is ever changing, and I always err on the side of caution on these things, because last thing you want to do is put a lot of resources, whether it's time or money, into something that is an unknown situation. Or and this is really related to using ChatGPT to create content for your website and then posting that on your website or social media or those types of things, as if there's not going to be any repercussions in the future. We have no idea. So let me just preface that. So let's get into some topics I want to cover here. So with ChatGPT, hopefully give you a basic understanding of what ChatGPT is, what's powered it. OpenAI can do image generation. They can do video. I mean, it's an engine behind ChatGPT. ChatGPT is just an interface. So, but there's a lot of things that you can do with OpenAI or ChatGPT, or even Bard, which is Google's version of it. And Google is, which I'll share you some insights, Google is experimenting with this, not only in their as their version of ChatGPT, but they're actually experimenting it with some of their online properties too, and utilizing it. So I'll get into that as well. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about was how can you use ChatGPT or AI tools for your marketing efforts. And I'll just share with you kind of how we use them, and maybe this might help you, guide you on your side. So let's say you wanted to create some authoritative content about the industries that you serve or your services that you provide. You used to have to write this content out, edit it, and come up with the topic map and all of that stuff like that yourself. and then obviously edit it and grammar check it and all of those things. You still have to do part of that to be not so well. Let's just preface this way: use ChatGPT as a guide, not a writer. There's no substitute for a human writer. I don't know if ChatGPT is going to be penalized, like content that comes from AI is going to be penalized in the future. Nobody knows that yet, or how it's going to play out on Google's SEO ranking factors or anything like related to that. But we all know that we need to, or at least we should know if you're listening to this podcast, that you need to be doing authoritative content. So that is posted on your website, on your social media channels, on YouTube, those types of things, to show that you're an authority in your business and you provide a specific service in a specific area. Now, we all are this the understanding of that. You can use ChatGPT to help guide you on what type of content you need to create, but it only goes so far because it doesn't have a real-time connection into who your competitors are, or what type of content your competitors has. It just has a database of knowledge that it's scoured over time. I believe it's like 2 years old. If I'm not mistaken, it could be wrong now on that, but it doesn't have a real-time access to data. There are some plugins that you can build into it that will help you with the real-time access of data, but it's on its face, ChatGPT doesn't have real-time access to data, and nor can it do all of like an analysis of a website or competitor. So, but what it can do is it can give you a guide, and you, for instance, you could say, hey, give me 10 topics that I need to write about for my water damage restoration company. And it can give you 10 topics or blog content pieces that are relevant based on what it knows about the industry and what it has indexed about what other people have said about the industry. Okay. And so it'll give you a guide. Do not have ChatGPT write an article for you by itself and post that on your website. I just would not do that because we have no idea if it's going to have a positive or negative effect. Right now it could work, but it could not in the future. So use it as a guide with creating your content. Use it as a guide for creating social media posts as well. You can go to ChatGPT and say, give me 10 topics to post about mold remediation, right, for social media. And it'll give you 10 guidelines to go after, and that'll give you some guidance on what you should be posting on social media. Same thing with video topics. So go out to ChatGPT and say, I want to create 5 videos about water damage restoration. Give me a topic outline for 5 videos that I should cover. And it'll give you those, right? Now, if you're in the water damage restoration industry, you are an expert in the space. You probably already are thinking about content that you should be writing about or not. The advantage of using something like ChatGPT, it actually uses the information that's out there and kind of gives you a summation or a guide of what people have created in the past, right? So you could be thinking one thing, oh, everybody wants to know about what a Cat 3 water damage is, right? Or everybody wants to know about ice dams. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But at the end of the day, there could be little volume for those specific terms, but there could be a different way of structuring it. So use it as a guide of that. We also talked about content guide, social media guide, video topic guide. There's a couple cool tools out there that you could put on your website for automated chat when somebody comes visit your website, and you can program these tools that will be like an automated chat bot that'll, when somebody goes there and they interact with the chat, you can teach the chat bot how to respond to things, and then when it comes to a certain extent or a certain fork in the road, you can say, hey, call us at this number, or you can have it interact as if it's a live person talking to them. I wouldn't recommend falsely saying it's a live person, but you could say, this is, A1 Restoration chatbot. How can we help you? What can we help you with, right? So for example, if somebody wanted to go to your site and say they need help with they have mold in their shower, and they go to the chatbot and say, do you help with mold in your shower? Most likely, it's probably not a job you would want to go out there and do that. Probably a really small job, not worth your time, and you could guide them through the knowledge of that. But then if they decide that they want to call you, you could say, hey, we have a $250 minimum charge, and call us at this number. So you can use it on that way as helpful knowledge to help visitors to your website, and also respond to questions and then guide them down to the right resource for that. So those are some ways you can do it. The other thing that's kind of cool about ChatGPT, or OpenAI, what I should say is OpenAI, there's multiple softwares out there that have started using OpenAI to create amazing different tools. So when I say ChatGPT, it has a background of information, and it has some limitations. You can't throw 100,000 words in there and say, summarize this for me. There's some limitations in ChatGPT. But some of these other tools out here that use the OpenAI engine, just like ChatGPT is the front of it, but they use the OpenAI engine, you can feed information into these softwares, and then you can use it as a knowledge base. So for instance, you could have a knowledge base for your company systems and processes for your team. And I've looked at a few different platforms out there. One is called botpress.com. Another one is called getguru.com. There's many other ones, and I'm not saying these are perfect, but you can use them as knowledge-based suggestion tools for your internal team, or resources for your team. Obviously, it does not take the place of being certified or anything related to that and the experience that someone would have. But it's just another tool for you to allow your team to maybe use as a reference on how to follow your processes and procedures in a knowledge base. Instead of trying to read a whole big long article, they could just send the ChatGPT a specific question, and that, I'm sorry, not ChatGPT, but you could set up this knowledge base software, and you could put all your processes and things in there, and they could just have a conversational piece with it on their cell phone if they're out on the job site or whatnot. So that's another way that you can take advantage of AI tools to help your company grow and help your company be successful. There's many other ideas on ChatGPT and OpenAI and Bard and whatever they're going to call all these things in the future. But and so I am just a proponent of using it as a guide and a resource, but not all in on any one of these platforms, because it's ever changing, and it's honestly kind of scary a little bit how much information these systems have. But it's kind of cool too, because it helps speed up the process of knowledge gathering. But it's only as good as the knowledge that it has. So it can be wrong, and it doesn't have a personal human touch or emotional side as of yet. Who knows how that is going to be in the future. That's really all I wanted to chat about, leveraging ChatGPT and AI tools for damage restoration. Use it as a guide for content, social media, video topics. You could have a chat on your website. You could build a knowledge base for your internal team. There's so many other uses out there, and I don't really follow it that close, but we use it for those resources as a guide and as a starting point for things. But by no sense do I let ChatGPT or AI dictate what we're writing for clients to rank them for SEO or those purposes. There's it's just something that is too unknown for right now. I know some people fully embrace it, but for me, I'm a little cautious with those things, and especially when we're dealing with, clients of ours, where we don't know the long-term repercussions of this, but we can still utilize the technology to produce a better result for our clients because we have a wealth of information from a system like that, or from a tool like that. So that is all I got to say about ChatGPT and leveraging it for your damage restoration industry. I'm sure in the next 6 months it's going to change dramatically. And if it does, I will report back on how we're using it, how it's helping us, and hopefully how it can help you. So that is the end of episode 17. And until next time, this is Sean McMeen. I will talk to you in the next episode.
You've been listening to the Restoration Marketing Secrets Podcast. Sean's not here to just talk the talk. He's walked the walk. With a track record of helping over 70 damage restoration companies and engaging in over 500 conversations with industry owners, he's seen it all. From digital marketing triumphs to the most ingenious growth hacks, he's got the keys to the kingdom, and he's sharing them with you. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, for more, hit the website at restorationmarketing.com. See you next time on the Restoration Marketing Secrets Podcast.